man, those look pretty.
Three, two,
What's
one.
the topic?
It's Bitcoin crab market, of course. What else is there to discuss?
Crap market.
We're live.
Oh, we're live.
Oh, we're live.
Good morning, guys, and welcome to Friday's episode of Market Check. We hope you guys have all had a phenomenal week of, whether it hasn't been trading markets, at least, maybe analyzing them. It's been obviously a very, very choppy week for crypto and to a lesser extent for equities as well. I'm Snorlax. You guys also know me as Tommy. I'm joined as always by Max, Tucker, and Will's Outlook. I'm excited for everybody's outlook today, guys. Like I said, it is a Friday. We have had a bit of a, it's a week where price has gone sideways, but I do feel as though it's a week where, fear and excess has been present within the market. I would say from a fear standpoint, you can clearly see it within the Bitcoin chart that Tucker has pulled up right now. I don't know if the audience can see it. If they can't, all good. But it's basically just the Bitcoin chart 6 hour. It's hanging out below value area low. It's hanging out below support. It's been hanging here all week. Question we're all wanting to know, is there going to be a squeeze? Is the quarterly high, is the yearly high in, or is it going to dump from here? Which it certainly looks like it wants to do. But as we know with Bitcoin, it has a tendency to, show its hand and then play something completely different. So I think you always have to be careful when you're trading this market, when you're trading crypto. Things are not always as obvious as they seem. And then meanwhile, you have equities, which, earlier in the week ripped to new yearly highs, I want to say, on the S&P, on the NASDAQ. And then yesterday, you had the NASDAQ down almost 2.5%. So, yeah, I guess you could just consider it July OPEX shenanigans. I know crypto had their options expiry as well. I think it was one of the largest ever for the space. We're seeing that more and more. I want to point that out anecdotally within crypto, that options are becoming a bigger and bigger player. You are seeing these options expiry dates become larger and larger, even though we're in a bear market. So it is a sign, I think, that the crypto market is becoming more sophisticated as a whole. But I would also say, when you have that many people trading options, at least right now, it's not a very friendly market for volatility, right? It's a bunch of people that are, selling options because there's not a lot of participation in the market. And so what that has done is it has just absolutely shredded volatility within crypto. And so even in these downtrends, I miss these. I miss those just like demon candles lower that crypto used to have. But I don't really know what it would take for us to get another one of those when all of our downside this year has been just extremely bearish chop, eventually getting into liquidity. Yeah, it's just been very, very boring. But you see that on these downtrends, right? We get a big candle lower. And then over the next few days, we tend to revert back to the mean rather than see immediate continuation. And that's true of the upside too. You can see it perfectly displayed within, the range that we've traded in on Bitcoin. Volatile move outside the range immediately returns to the mean. It's very unfortunate for an asset class that has a lot of volatility, but there has been a lot of volatility, obviously, in crypto through altcoins and on-chain markets. I will say, I don't know if you guys have been playing on chain as much as, perhaps April and May when meme season was, really in the thick of things. But I would say the rotations that we're seeing in the on-chain market as far as, speculation goes are definitely becoming a bit more cynical. We have had some very epic pumps, obviously, through a few assets on chain, but as a whole, especially lately, I felt like Hamster Coin yesterday was kind of a great indication of the health of the on-chain market, right? Where you have a token go 10x in a morning and then retrace the entire pump because, basically found out the project was a scam. I don't know if you guys have checked in on that project since for this morning, but it's actually up like there's no way that's the real Hams chart. You're gonna have to probably go to Dex Screener to find it. Hams. It's definitely not on an exchange.
Is this hamster from 2021?
No,
That one?
no,
Oh,
it's
okay.
brand new. It's a token that you
There
literally
it is.
gamble on hamster racing, guys. It's on Dex
Got
Screener.
it?
Um, that might be it.
Yeah, I think it might be.
but I
Yeah.
don't think so because it never had the real like volatility that yesterday did, or did it? Either way, that's neither here nor there. We had a hamster coin go up 10x in a day and then go below the origin of the pump within an hour. I want to say it's trading comfortably back above those highs, but you're seeing just like I said, a lot of cynicism towards a lot of these pumps, which I don't think is necessarily very conducive to at least in the immediate term upside in crypto. But equities have been, I would say, the real wild card in this equation, and I want to talk more about those today, guys, because it is July OPEX, just like it is for crypto, and I've been talking about it, and we have seen, I mean, weakness in equities. It's like, how do you define that? How do you define a pullback in equities, or like a traditional topping pattern in equities? And we did see weakness in the form of the NASDAQ pulling back 2.5% today. I wanted to get y'all's thoughts on that. I know Will's Outlook this morning was pointing out that a lot of individuals pulled back, obviously much deeper than the index. So maybe maybe we have individuals painting a different picture that we can still continue higher without a deeper pullback. I'm still in the camp that I would love to wait for, the perfect pullback would be to like 4,200 to 4,300. I am very skeptical about whether or not we will get it. I've been very patient waiting for it, playing crypto in the meantime. But I mean, I don't know. It's hard to call for a big pullback on equities. But if there was ever a time, we've shown weakness. We're in a window of weakness. Let's see if the Bears are even still alive, right? After the first half of this year. But I want to get Max's thoughts on obviously these big options expiries that we've had. Crypto is just incredibly grindy and cringe PA. And then, of course, as well, some of the ups and downs that we've seen in equities this week.
Real quick before Max, could you for our audience describe a crab market for any of the new members?
Oh, I can describe a crab market, man. Crab market is basically just Bitcoin. You're going sideways almost every day of the year. Crab market is I have a meme. If you're in our Discord, I'll post it. It's like a crab holding a bear in a bowl over a meat grinder. It's basically what it is. But how you doing, Max? How was your day, and what are you seeing in the markets?
Yeah. Hey, Tommy. Hey, everybody. Day is going well so far. Pretty good. But yeah, I mean, there's no doubt in my mind that we are in a crab market right now. But I mean, that's kind of how it's been all year, even though Bitcoin has performed very well on the higher time frames. It has these explosive moves that last about a week, but then beyond that, it's really just like slow, grindy PA. And there's little opportunities here and there, but it hasn't exactly been like super easy conditions that have encouraged, traders to step in with conviction either way. I think the traders that have been doing the best this year have probably been the ones that have been, very quick in, very quick out, and they don't hold their biases. They don't take it too personally. Let's put it that way. What am I expecting right now? Well, Tucker's chart is more or less painting the picture. We had an explosive move up. We've been consolidating, multiple stabs at the high. There's a lot of trapped longs above 30.8. And there's a lot of supply above head. Right now we're at 29.8 and change. And we're seeing that sell pressure come in, and it's not overwhelming, but at the same time, it's noticeable that every time we sort of push up a little bit, there is some selling that comes in, and price is continually slowly bleeding back down. We've lost our value area low of this consolidation. And truthfully, as discussed previously, there was volume on that last impulse up from 25K to 31, but the volume was relatively thin because the move happened so quickly. So I don't think it would be the worst thing in the world, even for the Bitcoin bulls, to see 1,000-point pullback here. I would just ask the Bitcoin bulls, like, if you're really bullish here and you want to see 35 to 37K, then prove it. Let's go back, let's build a little bit of support, let's test it out a little bit. And if you hold, then you've earned it. If you can hold and create a really strong reaction off of just sub 29K, I'd say let's go. Let's send this baby to 33, 35, maybe 37. Let's keep the show on the road for a little bit. But I don't really see a major incentive here to send things up dramatically, because I think that there's certainly some puking that can occur, because I mean, look, we're going to call it as it is. There were some people trying to force a breakout above 30.8. Everybody that bought above that value area high right there on Bitcoin is not in a good spot. If you go to the daily time frame, you can see that there's daily supply above head. Tucker, would you navigate to the daily time frame for me quickly?
Yeah, I got
So
you.
that daily candle, the highest daily candle right there, right there, yep, that one. That candle right there is really heavy supply overhead. And as you can see, every time we've come back into that candle, maybe Tucker, could you draw like a rectangle from that entire candle? Yeah, I mean you could even go wick to wick, it doesn't even matter. But yeah, that's more or less that's the supply right there. So everybody that bought on that candle, that green candle, Tucker has it as blue, but it's green. Whenever we've come back in after the sharp rejection or swing fail that we had, you can see that price has wicked into that daily supply and we've shot back down. So we've got supply above head. It's pretty heavy. People were trying to force a breakout, getting pretty frothy into the highs there, and they got smacked back down. So truthfully, I'd like to clear the books up a bit. I'd like to get those players out of the market a little bit, and I think a move down sub 29K would easily accomplish that. We probably wouldn't even need to go that low, like maybe just 29.4, 29.3, because I think you're gonna see some puking down there because of all the supply above head, and the eagerness to exit those longs from above basically 30.5. So, I'm leaning lower time frame bearish here. It is a Friday too. And I think that things just look a little bit heavy, and that doesn't mean that we need to go significantly lower. But again, I would love to see how the Bitcoin bulls react to a little bit of like an adverse reaction from up here. I want to see if their convictions are held that strongly, and I want to see them build a little bit of support because it looks like there's a lot of air underneath us because of how quick that last impulse was. So those are my opening thoughts. Happy to be here as always and looking forward to the discussion. But yeah, lots to talk about.
Thanks, Max. Yeah, I agree. And it's like I'm kind of seeing Bitcoin through two lenses right now. And the first is, I very much see Will's outlook in that I kind of hinted at it at the beginning, Bitcoin loves to paint a picture and then or like to show its hand and then, place something entirely different. So I'm torn that this could be one of those times, where it's painting a very obvious bleed into support into an eventual rip, or, whether or not, because I also remember you saying, Will, these slow bleeds can also be, the start of a much bigger move when you have a lot of, higher time frame candles with smaller bodies, and they're just kind of bleeding down towards a particular level. So I'm kind of just waiting for clarity, I think, on Bitcoin more than anything. But as far as like a time goes, I think with stocks potentially cooling off here, it would make sense for crypto to cool off as well. But maybe stocks don't cool off. I want to get your outlook, Will. What you're seeing through some of the downside that we've had in equities this week.
I mean, for me, I'm just looking for validations and validations, playing it level by level. That's all you can do. That's all you can do right now. You can't clearly define downside, just like you can't clearly define upside. But I think the factor of where you play at the most is typically the opposite of where the market likes to trend. So the market usually likes to bleed down. If it's going to rip up, it likes to bleed up, right? And a lot of people probably haven't heard that theory, but basically the market just drifting, right? We like to call it drifting up with no volume. And if it's drifting up with no volume, you're probably looking at a significant pullback.
I
Whereas
like
if
that,
you're
Tucker, by the way. Sorry to cut you off, Will, but that's kind of what I'm hoping for. I think that'd be a good opportunity. And I think, Will, you'd probably agree with that.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a possibility. And I talked about this the other day. It's a possibility in the realm of going below current support and deviating and then invalidating the move and then revalidating it, right? And that's what a lot of people got to understand too, is like when you go supports and resistances, you're looking for invalidations and revalidations. That's kind of the weird thing. You're probably like, what do you mean revalidations? It's for a lot of the new members, revalidations is basically where you've gone below support, but then you've gone back above it, right? And if you really want security in a move, you can cut your position below support and re-enter it above when it comes back above it, right? And that's usually the safer position. because what you can do with that cut position is if it does continue to bleed down, you can look for the next support for an entry. And even if you're wrong on that next support and it breaks below that, you still gained more than you would have lost, right? Between that drop position to the next support. So like I said, I've been in the camp of 28K as a possibility. I just, until we see that double bottom low on the weekly violated, I just can't see that happening. But if it violates and goes below there, I would anticipate that they're gonna probably get below that, hold below that, and then rotate down to that next support, and then probably revalidate the range back here at the highs, and then rip from there, right? Again, the market bleeding down is just, for me, more and more confidence that we have more upside, right? Because when the market drifts up, that's where your real concern is. So like if you were to look over there, like Tucker over there, July, right? Look at July of 2022 over there, right there. We drifted up, right? And we just drifted up and drifted up and drifted up. And then what did we do? We ripped down, right? And then we kind of bounced up, predatory move, ripped down, and then drifted up again, ripped down, and then drifted sideways, right? And now we kind of moved up, drifted down, got a predatory move to the low, and then ripped up. And then again on that next one over here, the second wave, we drifted down, right? And then ripped up. And now we're drifting down again. Is this where we're at? Like the market, it's revealed its hands a lot more obvious on higher time frames than a lot of people realize, right? And we're in that drift down position again. And usually when you get that drift down, you're going to get that rip. You're going to get that rip. I think 28K would be a solid support to come back into, man. That would be a bid range for sure. I could see it ripping off of that. Now, here's the thing. I don't expect another impulse. I just expect a swipe at liquidity in those higher ranges. That's it. And I think people should really consider that, exactly what I'm saying right here, right now, because I think there's a lot of people that are super bulled up with the expectations. And I am really in the camp that they're going to get invalidated on that pretty quickly, right? Because if we catch a harsh, like let's say we hit my range. Let's say we hit 35, 37K, and we get a really hard rejection. Like, people have to understand that really hard rejection is probably a signal. It's probably an obvious signal, right? Now, let's say we just stop out there and we don't get any rejection at all, but we can't move any higher. That's a little bit more of a dangerous situation, right? Because now you kind of stopped liquidity, and it's like people are questioning, should I buy here? Right? People aren't selling, but people are like, should I buy here? And then you get that indecisiveness at a certain price range of resistance. And once you start to get that indecisiveness, that's where you start to get your real downturn, right?
Well, where's like the lowest that you could see Bitcoin going here before your base case of like mid 30s is invalidated? Like, where would that level be where you'd say, now I'm on the fence about my bullish thesis? Like, what's that number? Do you have one?
So that's a hard take, man. That's a really hard take. So let me try and think of a way to describe it. I'm in the camp to buy for the next bull when it comes to crypto, right? So I'm not really in the camp to try and sell positions, but more ranges to look to accumulate more positions. Does that make sense? So like if we get to like 28K, for instance, and we break below that, my anticipation is 25 as the next support. We get to 20, we go below 25. My anticipation that is at 19, that wick right there where Tucker is identified, 19.5, that is your next support from there if you get below 25. I know some people would say 24. I think 25 is your range. I think you get below 25, you're going to invalidate, and you're going to roll it, and it could be fast, it could be slow. That's really the thing, right? I think once you start getting near that support where you're gonna kind of bounce off of, and that's gonna be your low, you're gonna see something very similar to the previous low, where price hits really hard and just trends sideways, right? Really small candle, no trading volume, no buying volume, no selling volume. Price is just sitting there, and I think like it'll be a lot more obvious than what people think it will be. I don't see a predatory V-shaped recovery move off of those lows. Like I think it will be another one of those scenarios where it's going to be a crab for a little bit before the next move. Now, the other thing that I have an issue with here is like if you look at the current crab high where we're at, look at the crab low.
The current crab high.
Look at the crab low. Tell me they don't look eerily similar.
Wait, what are you talking about? Sorry.
The low end range, the very low where we deviated below support there. That. No. So down the very bottom, very bottom. Right there. So see how we kind of just crab sideways there at the very bottom? Look at what we're doing up here.
So you're saying we're gonna BART?
Yeah, we're gonna basically rip up again.
You called the BART, Will.
Oh,
BART, Will.
Look at that top candle right there, that stab at liquidity. I'm expecting that to be a lot more violent though.
Look. I'm thinking we're in two ranges, I think.
100%. Yeah, you're in that split range. That's your 50% mark right there. That's your double top high. That basically broke out, right?
Yeah. So
Easy inverse head and shoulders on a daily. That's why it's a difficult take here, man. If they stab back into those lows, you kind of violated your inverse head and shoulders. Like it's gonna be a hard sell there to get people to really entice in price. That's why I think you'll drag for a little bit before you break out if that ends up happening.
dude, I'm low key thinking that. I mean, like, Will, I don't think you're wrong yet. Like, I mean, you've been right so far. But part of me's kind of thinking we could even go back to like 25 and then up to your level, like just to really like shake some people out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just like, I mean, I think we just need more fuel. To me, it feels like the tank is empty and we're trying to push up to 34, 35, but there's not enough shorts to puke. Well, and if we don't have enough shorts to puke, we're not going to get that propulsion
like,
up.
Max, it looks like the pattern that we painted in, or from January to March this year.
Yeah, it does.
What you're talking about, Max, though, is momentum, right? So we're looking for momentum to make that next breakout, but I don't think that this is a breakout.
No. Hang on. Let me clarify. I'm not looking for momentum necessarily. I'm looking for an impulse. I'm looking for an impulse or a squeeze fueled by short liquidations because I think that's what this next move is. I don't think it's going to be it's not going to be a smooth move where we can ride a 12 or 21 EMA up to the new high. It's going to be like a very spastic, like just ugly jolt up and then probably a BART from there. And I only think we have enough fuel in the tank if we nuke first on the, and when I say nuke, like it's a little hyperbolic, right? But if we go down 28, 27, 26, and we get a lot of people shorting into those lows, then we turn around and they're going to start puking their shorts. The way that they puke their shorts, one, either through liquidations, which is basically just a market long to counter their short, or they manually close it by slowly limiting out. That's going to send us up in a very spastic and a sort of like manic type of move. And I feel like right now we had the opportunity, but we didn't have enough fuel to get us there. So I think we need to probably go down first if we're going to reach those levels, Will. That's my gut.
It's a definite possibility that could occur, right? But at the same time, I feel like we should be very clear, like that's still a bidding market, right? It's still a market that you don't want to be scared of to step in front of if that whole scenario plays out. Because I think there'll be a lot of bidders in that 25K range if it got down to there, right? There would be a massive amount of bidders there.
So you think we get down here? You think we get all the way down here to the bottom?
I would think that's the lowest we would go if we're going to pull back now. Right? If we're going to pull back now.
I'd say you could. Yeah. I mean, it's just you had like 50% pump retrace, 50% pump retrace. That would basically put you at 20. Like if you retrace the whole thing, Yeah, if you retrace the whole thing, I think it would be.
It's almost like a violation of the impulse at that point if you retrace the whole
Yeah,
thing. You don't
it
want to do
is.
that.
You
Is
don't
it?
want
Um,
Because I mean, we basically violated the impulse back in March with that huge dip down. I mean, I remember thinking at the time that the move happened, like, okay, this is a structure breaking move. It looks like we're probably going to BART all the way back to the yearly open. And then I remember thinking by the end of the weekend, like, okay, this could be a huge squeeze. So
but here's the thing, Tommy. Look, there was a lot of let me think of the word for it. Oh man. I want to there's a better word for this, but I'm just going to use this word. So there's a lot of liquidity in that area. If you look to the left of that area, look at the consolidation range on the left, right? In that whole area. You had a lot of liquidity waiting to buy that area. And as soon as it dipped in there, it basically rebounded. And you got we talk about validation, invalidation and revalidation, right? You invalidated the low and you revalidated it very fast, right? And once you got back above
wouldn't you
validation
make the same
high,
argument though for the highs of the range being support? You know, the highs of last summer's range being support, especially now that we kind of have a bit more context to it
yeah,
as well
you
added
could.
through this year.
We could, yeah, but again, that just comes down to am I going to be validated or invalidated, right? And if we could say the highs of the range of last summer were support, then we could also arguably say, well, that would be a good area to bid, right, or buy. And I think that's how I'm playing this, right? Like I would buy it heavy at 25, and if it got back to 19, I would buy it heavy again. Like those are two zones I think
If
people
we
should
get
be looking at.
25, if we get 25 before higher, I really think you shove longs at that level.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
just shove. You shut up and shove everything you're bullish on, and if you don't, then you're not. It might dip lower than 25 if
Yeah, it could very easily.
March was any blueprint, but I think you have to shove at least spot at that level if you're, I don't know what else you would be doing here if you're not.
Yeah,
It's probably just a slow bleed all the way down to range lows with squeezes in between, and that would just be awful. Even then, like you buy 25, you're probably going to get to exit at some point in the next year higher at a higher price than that.
So Tucker, if you go to like right there next to go to May real quick. Now just go left a little bit more. Left, more, left. Right there. So
I know. I thought the
you
same.
see
thing.
that?
I
You
thought the
see
same.
that?
Yeah, but it's not. It's not.
No, let's do
I'm
Okay,
already-
Tucker, hang on. Will explain why it is, and then Tucker explain why it isn't.
All right,
So-
go ahead.
I'll explain why it is. Look, go back.
Oh, I'm so sorry. And real quick, well, before you give that explanation, guys, I got a request. Help us get to 20 likes if you can. If you are here and you are enjoying the stream, please consider just taking one moment and hitting that thumbs up button for us. We always appreciate your guys' ability to run the range high of 20 likes. So please and thank you, and hope you guys are enjoying the stream. Happy Friday. All right, Will, explanation.
Okay, so not just that one. Go back to the previous impulse, even before that. What do you see right there?
This no.
No, yeah, no, not that one. No.
Right
To,
brother.
to your left,
I see it. I know we got it.
Yes, that is where we're at. That is where we are at, man. Now look, we can dip before we rip, or we can rip before we dip. Both of those impulses have showed that. Now go to the other one. What's the other one? The other one's up, right? So they've both gone different directions based on, whatever wants to happen in that area. So either one could happen, but the second wave of this impulse, which is what I'm anticipating, has yet to occur yet, right? That's the way I'm looking at this. No, bro, it's straight across. Put
These
it on the
things are
weekly.
not the same. Well, these things
Put
are
it,
not.
put it,
the
no,
same.
put it on the weekly. Put it on the weekly.
I know. I'm just saying. I think we need at least one of these moves.
Yeah, we could. No, I am in the camp a dip could happen.
I
before
like
we-
this. I like this a lot more than this one. Honestly, I think we need that feel.
But-
Like, give me the bars pattern.
Okay, let me explain it just a little bit further, right? So The reason I think it's going to be a rip before a dip, I'm gonna explain that, is because this is the predatory liquidity grab, right? What's the best way to predatory liquidity grab? It's going to be rip before dip, because then you got everybody bulled up. That's what you got.
I don't want the chips without my dip. That's the thing.
Everybody bulled up at that point.
Well, you don't think we've already had that move though with the XRP news, especially with a lot of these alts grabbing liquidity?
It has nothing to do with news.
Hang
I'm
on.
telling
I would
you.
say normally I would agree with you, but in this one instance, when we have like a 3-year, monkey on the back removed from one of like the top 10 cryptos, I think when you get news like that, it's a bit of a statistical outlier. I don't think like little piddly news matters, but I think that this one you could make the case that yes, this is one of those rare instances where the news actually did matter. It was
If it
that
did, we would have saw an impulse. Here's what I think. I think the market.
I think we saw an
impulse.
impulse, didn't we?
That one little tiny candle right there. I wouldn't call that an impulse. I would call that. I'd call that a decent sized candle.
Here, let me throw this at you though, Will. Let me throw this at you. If Bitcoin had been bleeding,
What is it?
if Bitcoin had been bleeding before that XRP news and we were down at like 28.2 and people were shorting into those lows, the shorts that would have come off the board on the Ripple news would have probably propelled us higher than where we already went. My point still stands. We just simply didn't have enough fuel to get up to the Will's outlook level of 34K. I think that's all that there is here.
What does it say if your super bullish catalyst can't get you a breakout? It's not.
Here's the thing. I never look at news. I just look at charts. That's it. And I know there is the thesis that this news and that news and everything else, but a lot of those impulses went off of nothing. There's literally nothing occurring in those areas to cause those impulse moves.
My conclusion that I'm drawing from the XRP news isn't the news itself pumping the markets. I think there's this great saying in markets that sometimes what happens isn't as important as what doesn't happen. And I think the lack of follow through, not just from Bitcoin, but I would say more from Ethereum, right? There was no consistent demand for Ethereum, which the XRP news, I felt, take all the altcoins out of the equation, take Bitcoin out of the equation, like Ethereum, it was extremely bullish for Ethereum long term that, XRP was not labeled a security because it basically took away, in my opinion, like the biggest thing that could potentially, the biggest bearish catalyst for Ethereum, probably for the foreseeable future. And it didn't do anything. So I think that's the part that had me a bit concerned, Will, was, what do you think about Ethereum here? I know you're biased towards Bitcoin being the, the sole chat of this year, but I think the fact that Ethereum didn't follow through at all, I did find a little bit concerning.
That Ethereum, what was the high for Ethereum?
I think it might have gotten to 2K.
Yeah, I think it just tagged it quick.
Yeah, so actually, I think I got a little bit higher than that, didn't it?
Dude, the most concerning,
I think you can go back to like at least 1,400 personally, but people get mad when you give that opinion publicly.
No, that's a good first TP, Tommy. I think that's a really good first TP, and then like 600 or 700 would be the final TP. What's the most concerning for me is the total crypto market cap, and that we basically just been stuck at range highs for so long. I don't know. The total crypto market cap is painting a much different picture than Bitcoin specifically. And again, I can explain why. It's because the overreaction that we had from the FTX dump. Bitcoin was way oversold relative to total crypto market cap because of that FTX dump. So we're just seeing the beach ball underwater effect. Like Bitcoin, if it hadn't had that overreaction from the black or white swan, whatever, I've heard both arguments, we wouldn't be up here, man. Total crypto market cap is painting a very clear picture of the state of like the crypto asset class. So I don't know.
Man,
I think lower.
You like that?
2026. I mean, I hate it because it's kind of my bias that we're not going to pump in 2024 at all, but people really don't like to hear that.
Yeah. I mean, this was technically COVID, so we could just kind of extrapolate a bottom at 1200 in April and just say it was going to keep going
Can you
up.
imagine a year-long bleed in
But
crypto
dude, this is
markets? That would-
2019.
Dude, you're not going to have to imagine, dude. People don't they don't recognize this. There's still so much optimism in crypto, no pun intended. There's still so much optimism and hope, and people are feeling very encouraged by still being in the space. We never reached that point. We got close, but we never reached that point where people just said, fuck it. I give up. Like, I don't want anything to do with this space. Like, I'm just going to sell and get out. We need to reach a point of such
Disparity.
distaste, and despair. Yeah, that's a good word for it. Where people are like, Ethereum will never have another cycle. Nobody thought we'd never have another cycle. There were a few the doomer accounts, but like, we need to reach that point of just complete repel and distaste. And we never got there. And I'm telling you, another visit to the lows will do it, or a prolonged chopped crab market will do it.
That's a great point right there, Max. Like it doesn't have to be another visit to the lows. If we went back to 20K, I guarantee most of this market's leaving.
Yeah.
They're gonna be like, I'm out.
Yep.
I think it's the nature of the way the price action occurs. Like if it's just choppy for literally a year,
Yeah.
people are going to leave 100%. Because I mean, think about it. Like the whole reason that people get into crypto is because of volatility. And if the volatility isn't there, why are you sticking around?
Well,
Unless you're just in the trenches, essentially.
For all the beautiful friendships on CT.
Well, this is kind of the issue with the NFT market too. Is like, man, if we got another shakeout that low, NFT market's going to be like 50% down. I think a lot of them are just going to leave. A lot of them are going to leave.
600, it's coming, man. I've been
NFT
saying
bear market still has about 2 years left, I would say.
Yeah, the problem with NFTs going into a worse bear market is that will wreck Ethereum. And it will wreck all these shitcoins. It'll wreck BNB. It'll wreck a ton of them, man. They will get it. I think that's the one thing that a lot of people don't consider. Like, I'm not even saying Algo. I'm not saying like Cardano. I'm not saying even XRP. Yeah, they'll all get wrecked, but they're not sitting in shitcoins, right? And I don't mean NFT shitcoins, but I'm saying like when you start to see the NFT market go, you're gonna start seeing the shitcoin market go. And then once you see those two start to spiral down, it's a bad take for all coins like Ethereum and BNB that are sitting primarily in these coins, staying propped up because their liquidity pools are made up of these coins, right? And I think that's really the inherent risk of those ones specifically. But I think there's a lot of things that you can buy now that are not in shitcoins, not in NFTs, and they're not going to see the same volatility that those will see if that occurs, right?
I wanted to ask you guys a question because it was a conversation I was having with a friend earlier this week. We were kind of talking about the correlation between equities and crypto, and all year we've just had this assumption that equities have been leading. Eventually there will be a rotation of capital into crypto, but so far we haven't seen that, both because the Feds have done a great job of killing the on-ramp, so it's very difficult to get institutional level capital here, but it's also not very safe for them to be here anyway, so why would they?
I mean, you do have the non-security XRP.
There's just not a lot of, there's still not a lot of regulatory clarity with digital assets, but yeah. I think my point was more so that we have this opinion that past returns in crypto should necessitate funds who are, looking for tech beta in equities to allocate to crypto. But why would they right now? Right? Like what about crypto is screaming, I am under allocated to crypto. And it's a little sad for me to say that, but I mean, it's the truth. What reason that crypto has provided this year would lead you to, if you're an equity hedge fund manager, to feel a necessity to start allocating to crypto over something like AI or the NASDAQ, which is, I mean, not only probably produce better returns for you this year, but it doesn't have any of the other bullshit like CZ completely manipulating the market up and down. It's not choppy. You don't have to worry about any, random tail risk.
But
So
do
I
you
think from
wanna-
that standpoint, there's like, what is the necessity for these equity hedge funds to allocate to crypto later this year?
Right.
And I say that as somebody who thinks that it will still probably happen, but I don't see any reason to necessitate.
I'll give you
allocating
one.
for
I'll give you
plays.
one. But by the way, I totally agree with you. I'm going to play devil's advocate just for the sake of conversation. There's been a lot of discussion surrounding these major institutions getting involved with spot ETFs. So there may be some people out there that feel compelled to not even necessarily front run, but they might feel a little bit more insulated about buying these prices, which over a 10-year period, which a lot of these firms will view an investment term over, these are still distressed prices on, where you could forecast this asset class to be. And they might feel a little bit more comfort knowing that, well, there's some big boys coming in sometime soon, But I totally agree with you, though, Tommy, by the way. That's just the only reason I could think of.
Yeah, I would say too, like, I feel like a lot of people look at markets in a much smaller window when really, if you're looking at it from like a market structure, and you're like, okay, crypto's going to do this every 4 years. Not saying that is always going to occur, right? That can always change. It could always be earlier, it could always be later. But until it changes, you go with the pattern, right? Just like in charts. And it hasn't changed so far. So we're just going to go with that thesis. A lot of bigger players, I think, are still currently accumulating, even right now, on certain assets in crypto even. And they are waiting for that bull run, right? And they have the capital to sit on this money. And that's what a lot of people don't understand too. If you're sitting on I would say easily $1 million plus, you can allocate a good chunk of that and just sit on it. Like, why care? As long as you know the project's not going to go to zero, it doesn't matter. You just throw it in a ledger and you sit on it. Now, retail, your general retail public, which is the people that typically need to get washed out, a lot of them, because they're just degens in here gambling. But a lot of them come in here and they're looking for money next month. They're looking for money in the next 3 months. They're looking for money in the next 6 months. And when that doesn't pan out, they either sell at a loss or they sell at a profitability. Now, I did throw two things in the chat there, Tucker, if you could pull both of those up. And I just want to show you kind of like what we're looking at from like a liquidity standpoint, because I think this is very indicative of showing people kind of the reality of where crypto is. So if you could click that first link, open that up, and then click that second link and open that up. And don't worry, they're both viruses.
My Bored Apes are gone.
They're both viruses.
I knew you were a Bored Ape
Thank
holder,
you for your
man.
liquidity.
My Bored Apes are gone. We'll give them back.
A live stream, give them back. Oh, I'm disconnecting my bomb shelter. Or I shouldn't say that word. My shelter is
What the?
currently disrupting my signal, so I might fall off. Now that you guys have all clicked.
I think to siphon some of that liquidity though, Will, because I did click on the link, not just in a joking way. I did click on the link. Like Apple's market capitalization is currently $3 trillion, which
that's what I'm saying.
It's almost twice the current.
Almost three times.
There's plenty of money that can rotate. I think the question I have is whether or not it will, just because I think we kind of underestimate as crypto natives how difficult the feds have made it to onboard capital back into crypto. Like, they have made it extremely difficult for large players to not only like be able to do it at all, but to want to do it.
Yeah, I mean, to a degree, but like if you're putting capital in a non-security like XRP, you can play that all day. You can TWAP it all the way as high as you want into the next bull market, right? And you could take that capital back out and like, look, I just bought XRP. What are you gonna do?
What does Coinbase stock look like? Because that's pretty much the biggest and obviously the most easy or the easiest way for these institutions to get money into crypto is through Coinbase. So I would imagine that stock is going to be very highly correlated. Probably even leading crypto market success over the next few.
They can OTC through them too. Both Coinbase and Binance will OTC on institutions, 100%. And that's where you got to look because they're going to want to be on centralized exchanges. They're not going to want to trade DEXs. They're going to trade centralized exchanges. XRP got relisted on all. I'm not trying to XRP bull people up, but I'm 100% telling you guys, like, exchanges are going to accumulate. Players are going to start accumulating because they can play this. They can play this market through one asset and know they're not going to get hit for securities. At least, right? At least. And Bitcoin, arguably, yes, it's been deemed not a security, but there's nothing on paper from a judge stating that, right? It's just the SEC saying it. Just like they said Ethereum wasn't, but they could still go after them later on. Now, BTC is a little bit harder because there's no entity to go after, but Ethereum's not that hard. We all know where Mr. Ethereum creator is, right? We know who he is. So because we know that, if you're offering rewards for staking, look up the Howey test, right? And I know that's going to piss some people off that I said that. And they're going to be like, well, that's just BS. They already said, look, they moved from proof of work to proof of stake. Once you change your chain type, you're now under the guise of being able to be targeted. So, I mean, they've already targeted Cardano for this exact reason. And Cardano is proof of stake. The same thing that Ethereum just switched to.
Cardano's proof of nothing. It doesn't do anything.
Well, I'm just saying by like what the design of.
I know. I'm just joking around. I know.
Cardano is proof of bag holder, man.
Yeah.
It's proof of retail. That's what it is.
Some of my favorite bull market arguments were always like, I mean, I can't even believe I used to spend time arguing with Cardano bag holders about like why their chain was so awesome. And I mean, here we are, you still can't do anything on Cardano. Like,
I know.
Look,
There's so many empty
that's
promises.
what you want out of a community, though. Like they're loyal bag holders who will literally die for a bag that has no utility at all. Like that's a dream if you're an investor.
Well, that's the way. Why do you think market makers ran it to 90 billion before they dumped it? They literally ran it up, got all
I was
retail bulled up, and
shocked
took
when
it.
Cardano ran back up to $3, man. That was a fun pump that I enjoyed shorting all the way back down.
Bro, I watched people tell me how it was going to flip Ethereum. I was like, good luck.
It's ironic that Cardano's pump kind of kickstarted, I guess, along with Solunavax, it like kickstarted the layer 1 pumps.
Yeah, then you started to see the rotation through all.
You want to know why it went to 90 billion, and that's the reason right there. That man.
I mean, honestly, it's all a Chad Dev token will pump.
Chad,
Yeah.
Crypto investing is that easy.
Is that a camp?
That easy.
I mean, it is on a very simplistic level. I feel like it really is that easy.
Yes, I totally agree. And that's why I fear a little bit for Solana is they don't have like a face right now. You know, not that Sam was a Chad, but like he was a Titan. So they kind of need a new guy, I think. You know, and I don't know who that is.
That's me. I'm that new guy.
The most generous billionaire.
Bill's gonna be making markets for Solana. I wish they'd let me do it, man. I'd be such an asshole. They do have a market maker though. It's Nomad, and it's not very fun to trade against Nomad.
It's not very funny.
he's a giga Chad, man. Like I don't know if you follow his Twitter, Will, but he's literally like an ancient Bitcoin whale, like the first market maker for crypto. So he is the bottom on a lot of your favorite tokens.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. I feel like we talked about Bitcoin a lot though. What do we think about equities?
What do we think about Rollbit, brother?
Wait, does Nomad have an alt account that became public?
I mean, he will deny it, but apparently Bitfinex is Nomad. So.
Yeah, I think that was.
All it does is FUD Tether.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're
Tethers,
the fact that he's FUDding Tether is not a great thing, but
No.
look, all I'm gonna tell you guys is like everybody and their mom has FUDded Tether since day one.
TUSD is a bigger threat to crypto right now than Tether. I mean, TUSD is probably not even backed 1-for-1. And I don't know if you guys saw what I posted in the Discord. We can go to equities right after this, but I guess somebody found the wallet that was supposed to be backing the TUSD on Ethereum, and there was no money in the wallet.
What? Gosh. I would say I'm surprised, but that would be a lie.
This is TUSD is like Justin Sun stablecoin, right? Looks like it.
Yeah.
That looks like Justin Sun.
It went to $3.
Oh my God.
3x on a stable
You,
coin.
you guys don't remember the stablecoin runs?
Dude, it could be
Nah.
good to just set some stink bids on that thing. See if you get filled at like 60 cents.
House. I got blown out short
Hold on.
USD.
Wasn't that during the Luna collapse though? A lot of stables pumped off Luna because everybody started rotating.
What you talking about, this wick or this wick?
The 2021 or 2022. No, the up one.
January, that was May.
Yep.
Yeah,
That was right when Luna. Yep. You saw a lot of capital rotate to all the other, like every stablecoin pumped, right? And like I was selling stables into dollars. Like, yeah, this isn't gonna be sustainable. And man, I wish I'd have been into USD. I really do. That would have been a nice pump.
I know at least one of those dumps was from, I think the June one was from Tron, so like Tron FUD. I remember that. I remember thinking I should probably short Tron here, and then I didn't, and it ripped shorts. But what are we seeing with the NASDAQ right now, guys? Because I know it pulled back 2.5% yesterday. It's green today, but I know it's trading into I think a weekly FVG that should garner a pretty significant reaction.
Yeah.
Yeah, it tagged the last weekly inefficiency on the entire chart. Like it cleaned up every single bit of low volume inefficiencies from the 2022 bear market. Like the entire chart is cleaned up right now. If there was ever a time to turn this thing around and front run a double top, it would be here because they've cleaned up literally everything perfectly. I mean, it was basically at like 16,000 on the money. Like we swept that level. We dipped into the last inefficiency. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe the top is in. I don't know. But
that's definitely going to give it a really nice bounce out of like 320.
330. Yeah. Oh yeah. There'll be some big bounces, but
I don't think it's going straight down, man. I don't think it's going to double top here. I think you'll get a pullback, and then you'll get like because I think it'll kind of resemble that that pullback in 2021 between July and October, where you had kind of a bit of a market structure break, some weakness in both the economy starting to show and the market, and then the market still went and made another high anyway on a higher time frame. So I could see something like that.
I could too.
Yeah, I like this area in here. 340 to 338 to 345.
Man,
if you lose this in here, you're coming down there for sure.
Yeah, that's exactly where I was looking, Tucker. Because if you come straight across, that hits your candle top highs there too on the left. That's where I was looking for support the whole time, but we bounced off that zone, right? Like if you pull that all the way to the left, exactly where you have it, just straight across to the left.
What, this line?
Yep. Just go straight across to the left. So up a little more to your body lows, body highs. See that right there? That's basically where you came back and retested right there. You came back, retested it, held it, and then bounced off of it. I would arguably say that's your strong point. That was your pivot, right? So like if you're going to pull back, that's what I'd be looking for is 361. I think if you go under 361 and go back to that fair value gap, you're going to retest the high, invalidate, and start rolling right back down to the low.
Here's the thing, though. I think if we did go back to that August 2022 high or that inefficiency there, I think, one, we get a big bounce out of it, but two, it sets us up really nice to form our first lower high all year and potentially start working on lower levels. Yeah. So I think either way, it's going to give a big bounce. From that level, I wouldn't expect us to go higher. Truthfully, yeah, I'd expect that. Yeah. Yep. That's it.
It doesn't have to be all the way to the bottom, Tucker. But yes, that's what I'd be expecting.
It's not even
Yeah.
far enough, man. I can't even.
It's not even far.
Fair.
Yeah, that would be the move I'd be looking for if it broke below that support there. Like it would probably come down, hit that gap, retest the low. Everybody would say break out. It'll probably wick above that resistance just to get wicks up there to entice people, trap a bunch of long liquidity, and then go short again.
Yeah, I
So
like it.
you don't want to see this. Just so people know in the chat, you don't want to see that low get violated like that. If it comes back down to that gap, that could almost be a reversal signal of market.
Yeah, I
for
feel
the
like
Qs.
once we lose like this, I feel like people are gonna be like, "Oh my god, it's over," and then we're gonna
They're
Get
gonna
that.
nuke it down to that gap.
do that, and oh, it's over. Lower high.
Yeah, that's
Now
what I'm
it's
thinking,
over.
man.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
double
Yep,
top.
that's exactly what I'd be looking
That's
for.
the
there.
move. That's it.
Now,
Yeah.
again, Tucker's being a little extreme with the low here, guys, but we're trying to work with him on
Not extreme enough, Will.
that.
Look at his background, man. He's been hinting his bias all
Look,
week.
it's all about this. All right. It's all about that.
Most generous billionaire.
Hey guys, I gotta ask a favor too. We're at 17 likes. Our goal is always 20 likes. If you are enjoying the stream, if you're here, if we've got 3 people watching that haven't hit that thumbs up yet, please consider just taking one moment real quick and hitting that thumbs up for us. It does wonders for the channel and wonders for the stream. Thanks again for being here on your Friday. Hope you guys are enjoying the stream so far. I really would like us to go back to that August 2022 high. Just like really give a good nuke ski, because that's a big drop from here. And we never really retested it.
A really good one to look at. Pull up Tesla, bro. Like that one's a really good one.
Tesla's kind of getting beat up today.
No, but I want to show where we went back to. So put it on the daily and look at the gap. So see that gap right there?
Yeah.
They haven't been able to fill it yet.
Thank you guys for 20 likes, by the way. You guys are the best. That did not take too long.
That's what I think is support, but I think they fill that gap, right? I think they fill the lower gap, then come back for the higher gap if it's going to go up. I think they fill the higher gap and then come back for the lower gap if it's going to reverse.
You just ping pong in here.
Yep. They're going to ping the liquidity on both sides of that.
Yeah. I mean, we could do that.
That's what I'm saying, but that I don't think would be good. If you ping high before you ping low, I prefer ping low than ping high, so that way you can get the breakout move, right?
What about ping crab?
What about ping crab?
Oh, that's not a crab. That's a freaking nuke. That's what that is.
What about crab ping?
Oh
my god, that would be so painful, bro. If it don't fill either one, it just keeps bouncing.
yeah.
Just hangs out.
Will, you said it, man. Max Payne is nothing.
Yeah, we talked about this morning. I was literally like, "Hey, Max Payne is not up or down; it's sideways." That is
True.
Max Payne. Price just doesn't volatile in either direction. That means traders aren't interested. It means nobody's interested. It means like the market's just dead. There's no
Max Payne is everybody is miserable.
Yeah, both sides are miserable. Yeah,
Miserable. Nobody gets filled on anything. Just general apathy.
Yeah, it's pretty depressing when the market moves crab, man. But like, I like the position in the crabs wherever the directionality is going, because I think that those are some of the better opportunities for up or down.
Would you bid Tesla on a pullback to that yellow line, Tucker? Is that why you have that drawn there?
Yeah, I think this is actually one of Ben Cohen's many yellow lines that he likes to draw. I've had this on here forever, and he had it drawn a while ago, but
That's funny.
Dude, Ben is the man.
I mean,
Dude, I made a dubious speculation video and gave him some shout outs and some credit. My next video, Will's got one going up today. I gave Edward a video that's going up Saturday. It's going to be dubious speculation, the BB edition.
I think Tesla's probably a bid over the next, like if we do get a dip, maybe not all the way to the yellow line. I mean, I guess definitely if we get to the yellow line, but if we get in here, I think it's a bid.
Yep.
Kind of seeing a market maker sell model, truthfully.
Exactly.
If you go back to the low.
That's true.
You see that, like the low, then box above it, then top box, I know Snorlax sees it. Maybe the same people that are market making Matic are market making Tesla, Tommy.
And you can see him everywhere on Matic's chart. Looks like crap, by the way, Matic.
Good Matic.
I think Matic should just go to like 25 cents already. Let's just rip the Band-Aid off.
I know.
I will say Matic has had the most prolonged distribution of any asset I've ever seen.
Where do you think it starts from?
It started from the highs in May of 2021, to be totally honest. And it's had multiple distribution phases. But I would say the second distribution phase is like so mind-boggling to witness, like the run up from the June low. But another thing about Matic that I find really interesting, because as much as I, shit on Matic, I do think they have the best biz dev team in all of crypto. And you can see it reflected by how hard their token pumps every single time. And they're smart. They understand the value of a new chart. They're going to be rebranding this asset to a completely new ticker. I don't know if you saw that, but
yeah,
what a nice little scam by them to extract as much value as possible again. But I'll be aping the new ticker, not Matic. I would be much happier if this token just like nuked into Hades, quite frankly.
Dude, that's a one candle. That's a one candle. Erase all of this. See ya.
No, that's the move I was talking about earlier. Remember the drift up? That's your drift up right there.
Yeah, those are the stairs, and that's the elevator.
Yep. You don't want to see drift ups. It's usually a reversal. Not looking good on that one for sure. It did that up at the high too. Look, where we dropped down, and then at the very peak high, drop down, and then you drift up, and then you drop down, then you drift up, then drop down, drift up, and you drop down, and you're drifting up again.
I mean, yeah, I'd argue it does like this.
Yep. And then just drops.
But see, I thought it might do it here. We were like right here.
It can hold the range as long as it wants. So.
Then it said nope.
Yeah. Well, it's just swiping at high liquidity. That's all it's doing right now. It's going to drop. It's just a matter of when. It's got to stop that pattern before it's gonna stop creating lower lows.
Funding is pretty positive on DYDX for Bitcoin right now. Has anyone noticed that?
I don't really know how much I can ever glean from DYDX funding because they always have some really odd deviations. I haven't really tracked it that close. It's kind of tough on DYDX too because market makers are probably slightly skewed towards negative funding just because they have to hedge their rewards.
Mm-hmm. Let's discuss with the viewers because they may not know how funding works and stuff like that. Let's talk about funding a little bit, just so they know. If you want to hop into that, Tommy.
Say it again.
Just kind of give a
funding 101
of how funding works.
Oh yeah, so funding is, for those who don't know, it's dislocation between. So like when an exchange has the price of an asset, it has the price of an asset for perps, and it has the price of an asset for spot. When the price of the asset is higher on perps than it is on spot, you're going to be seeing that positive funding because it reflects the discrepancy between the price that you see on perps versus what you see on spot. So when you see negative funding, it means that spot has a premium over perps, which is usually indicative of two things, right? Which is one is the popular CT saying whenever you see negative funding, which is that people are shorting the crap out of things. The other negative funding or the cause of negative funding would be a huge spot cost or spot buying cost premium. So you could just have a lot of spot buying lead the pump. That's why when you see a lot of these altcoins with really negative funding, it either means they have an unlock coming up and people are shorting really hard into it, or there's a ton of spot buying on it all the way up and the funding just remains negative. That's what INJ benefited from all year, was negative funding from just an insane spot bid. Pepe as well. But that's just pretty much a very basic level idea of what funding is. When you get into periods of really high froth in a bull market, you'll see a lot of these altcoins and a lot of these Bitcoin and a lot of Bitcoin and Bitcoin. A lot of Bitcoin. What am I saying? There's only one Bitcoin. You'll see it. You'll see those trade at a huge positive premium, and that's indicative of froth in the market often. But I hope that helps.
Yeah, that's good. I think explaining this stuff from time to time, because we talk a lot of stuff that non-traders probably don't understand. They probably come here to like figure it out. Like talking about how it works and stuff helps them kind of understand why we talk the way we talk when it comes to markets.
Yeah, what all of our mumbo jumbo big words are.
Yeah.
we tend to take a very complicated approach to things. So
Yeah.
They're gonna bake a breakdown, pop all the shorts in that tiny little consolidation to 30.2 and then nuke it. I'm pretty sure that's what that's gonna do.
I want those lows getting tagged. Like I want a new weekly low and then just swing fail.
Now, what are you guys gonna do if it revalidates and comes back up and starts supporting in the range?
Like if we reclaim value area low.
Mm-hmm.
He's
He's like, I never considered it.
I didn't think that was a possibility. I mean, look,
this market are forced.
Yeah, I'm not gonna marry any like bias here, but I mean, there's still a lot of supply above us. Like I think even if we tag the value area low, which again is also the previous week low, I think it's probably going to smack down there again. Yeah, I mean, I think it really just comes down to this for me, Will. Like, I don't think there's enough fuel in the tank. We've talked about this. I'm with you that we can go higher, but I think it's not just like something good that can speed it up. Like, it is a prerequisite. I don't think we can go higher without going lower first.
No, I agree that could be a possibility. I don't see the point in going lower and then going higher, because then it seems more sustained. Right.
If it's a quick drop though, then I don't think so. I mean, what I'm looking for is literally like a BART here. Like it doesn't have to be today or anything, but I don't think that we have to like seriously bleed for like 60 days. If we're thinking we could go higher here, I think I literally think we just need like 28.5, backfill that inefficiency, hold that support, hold that 3/4 range right there that Tucker has in red, and then go ahead, show your strength there, bulls. Like, let's send it up. But dude, if we couldn't push through the range highs before, we just don't have fuel, man. Like, we don't have the liquidations, we don't have the funding to perpetuate a squeeze up higher right now. It's a crab market.
Here's my thoughts on that. So go back to that second impulse there, Tucker. Like, man, I'm telling you, bro, like, look, you got the impulse, we're moving sideways, right? Like that second impulse there, that very beginning, see how price looks like it wants to break down on that consolidation.
Yeah, no, I see it.
That's really what I think is going to occur here. I know it's a very convicted move. I think that's the higher odd play.
But right? even if we are,
yep.
But see, what if we're on the first one, Will? You talked about the one before in January, because that's what I'm looking for. That's literally exactly what I'm looking for. Is like, I don't think we have enough fuel. And look at how similar that one is, where we swept the highs like 3 times right there. Mm-hmm. That's where I think we're at right now. Is like, we didn't have enough fuel there. We formed a bear trap and then we sent it up. I literally think it's just as simple as that. It doesn't even have to be that predatory or that intense. Like, send it down $1,000. That's it. Give us some fuel, and then let's talk about sending it higher.
Yeah, look, like we had this.
Yeah, it's those highs where they attempted to send it up and they just couldn't. So they came down, they filled up the tank, they got some fuel. There we go.
We had the same thing on all 3 though.
And then you bleed, and then you pound the lower high.
No, but look,
pound
you did
the lower high.
You did the same thing on the second one.
What are you talking about?
You ran up. Look, draw a line on top of the second one.
No, I know, but we set the lows before we set the high there, Will. That's the difference. Is before we took stabs at the high, we went at the low. That's the difference.
And then this one's kind of
That one's kind of sideways, yeah.
I think there's more commonality if we're trying to determine where we could potentially be at. I see more in common. Not that the one that you're saying, Will, doesn't have anything in common. I'm just thinking that the first one has a little bit more in common because of
Tucker,
how
put one on
predatory
top of the second
because of how predatory it was at the highs. That's all.
one. There you go.
It's not.
I know I'm not saying we didn't stab the highs there. We
No,
clearly did. It's
I
just
was
that
talking to Tucker. He's over here saying that it's not. That's what I'm saying.
No, I mean it's not as clean though. Look at the highs. Like it's just not as clean.
Yeah.
Here.
Every pattern ultimately is going to be different. It's never really going to repeat.
Like you kind of rounded and then you also kind of rounded here. And this one was basically straight. And this
Well,
is like
that- That was my discussion with what happens if we reclaim the value low, right? Because if we reclaim the value low, arguably we're probably going to look more like Impulse 2.
I still see so much supply above head, Will, that like I think that we have such an intense headwind right now that I mean, dude, the amount of people that bought above the point of control here, like that's a concrete wall right now. I don't know what's going to fuel that squeeze. Like I think if we went up there, people would take the opportunity to sell it again, and look to buy back lower at that red line that Tucker has, the 3/4 range.
I
Yeah.
love the 3-day chart, man. Look at the highs.
Oh God.
That's pretty ugly. Yeah, that's pretty ugly.
That is
But Will, just to
disgusting.
reiterate, man, like I'm not opposed to your scenario. I just think we just need more fuel. I know I keep saying that, but I just don't know what's going to turn us around here. You know, why would they turn it around right here? I don't see aggressive shorting into the lows. Funding is not reflecting that at all.
There was aggressive shorting into the lows.
No, there was
a lot
way but if you're
yesterday.
looking
There
at the
is.
range, if you're
There
looking at
is. Sorry, Max. What were you
Yeah.
saying?
I was going to say, if you're looking at the range as a picture, there was much more aggressive buying into the highs than there has been shorting into the lows.
Yeah, I was gonna say since the drop, there's been a lot of shorting. There's been a lot of longing. So it's
Yeah,
like,
I almost feel like it's equal on both sides here.
yeah, which makes me think that I could totally see a puke down to like 28.9 and then a squeeze back above like the weekend highs to like 31. I could see that. But it might the way Bitcoin's been trading this year, it's like we've been saying, we build up shorts, we kind of let them get away with it for a little bit, so eventually they become our forced buyers. But I don't think that's necessarily a great sign for the leveraged longs who have caught the knife here.
No, I agree. That's my overall thesis from like a higher time frame is like that they are really being predatory towards longs, and they're going to get longs into a situation where they feel like they had to buy every single support, and they just continue to break supports as the thing retraces as a whole, right?
I think if we reclaim, like I mean this. I think if we're back above 30.5, I literally think we're going to 33. I don't think it's going to be another like stab at 31 and then down. Like I think if we go much higher than here,
you're going to see bulls step in if they get higher. I don't know why they want a bit higher, but they just do it.
I'd be leaning more towards Will's outlook. If like we get back above that point of control, I think we're going back to the top of that wedge. Truthfully,
we could even. Why is it so gross down here on the drawing? But yeah.
So maybe a fake breakdown first, you know, like send it below the yellow line,
what is this?
and then do something like that. Yeah, what is that?
Yeah, I think even like when you put it on the weekly too, it's a little bit of a different story. It's almost like a double bottom position. It's like, do we really go lower here? You know, when you look at wick lows, like I don't know, man. It's a tough spot. It's a tough spot.
It's awkward for sure. And it's awkward mainly because I think a lot of people, myself included, can see higher, but you also have to recognize that the majority of the move has already happened. So it's a weird spot to try to step in.
Yeah, I think it's the wrong spot to try and step in if you're not already in. Right? Like it's you could take the long here, I think, as far as being at the bottom of the current range and then invalidate below that wick, and then just have your stop below that, and then just understand that price will probably go deeper from there and probably end like 28K. And then, or I just don't see how you short here without getting below that support.
Under 29.5, yeah.
I mean, look at that solid buying range they got going on right there. It's almost like price is at a standstill. And it's really tight.
I could absolutely see a reversal at 28.9, but I think that's the last level. I could see a reversal before we probably see a much larger, larger is the wrong word. I think longer correction is the better one.
And just so the audience knows, we're not sitting here trying to convince each other. We're just discussing it to try and like get an overall game plan of what to do here.
Tucker, I have no idea how you read that momentum indicator, man.
Oh, the blue is basically, so the under blue, just like it means it's basically undervalued.
Dude, it's stochastic RSI. If you put up stochastic next to that thing,
I love stochastic RSI.
it's the exact same thing as stochastic. Like, Tucker, throw up a stochastic RSI. I bet it looks identical, man.
Fu Manchu is literally RSI and stochastic RSI and volume. That's what it is. It's all three in one.
Not even close. Not even
Dude,
close.
that's pretty close.
Not even close.
Yeah, you're right. It's lagging.
Look. Okay, that's a perfect analogy. Look at where stochastic is, man. Look at where stochastic is.
Yeah, but that's bearish, Will.
No, it's near the range low.
Who do you think's selling all that spot Bitcoin at 32K, guys? I'm curious. Is it CZ?
I think it's CZ propping up BNB.
Is it options related? It could be options related. But somebody has had like these massive spot asks every time we've broken the high, every single time. So maybe, I mean, I don't know that we're going to be able to move before July, but we did just have OPEX, so maybe.
Isn't there like 65,000 ETH on Kraken being sold?
Man, people hate ETH this year. I hate ETH this year.
It's like a Genesis wallet. Like it's like a wallet from the token Genesis event.
Oh yeah.
Kraken, and they're slowly twapping out.
I didn't know that they were selling. I saw that the wallet was finally like active for the first time, but I didn't know that they were selling.
It's active and they put it all on Coinbase or on Kraken, I mean.
Yeah, that's
in a new bull run when you get an ETH capitulation event, I think. When you get an ETH Bitcoin breakdown. I saw a tweet from Smiley about it yesterday. Like, it's not eventually, like, you're never going to have another bull market with ETH Bitcoin just slowly grinding higher as the start. That's not how it's going to work.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
But ETH will probably be the last speculative asset within crypto to break. So I don't know when that will be. I do know there's some pretty scary liquidations on chain below like $800. From the last time I remember that. Maybe it was below $700.
Dude, I think it was on like, did it have to do with Maker too?
Yeah, that was on Maker.
Yeah, I remember then he had to add collateral or something like at the last second.
Yeah.
Oh, liquidations under 800, you don't say.
There's hidden leverage under that level too. So
what happens if it goes to 750? Is it going to like 300?
No, I don't know, man. I mean, it's like these capitulation events, when you hit a liquidation, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to have a huge wick lower if people want to buy there. You know, if they're going to identify your liquidation, it's like, okay, I can shove here because I know they're getting liquidated.
I'm going to shove sub 1,000. I'm shoving. I'm shoving and I'm turning it off right after that, man.
I don't think we're going that low on ETH. Let me say that, but if we do get down there, it's a big problem.
For who?
For probably everybody.
Not me.
Everybody holding on-chain
They
savings.
won't trap me.
For.
Yeah, they won't. They won't trap me.
They won't trap
Biggest
me.
bear trap I've ever seen, but they won't trap me.
Where was when we were in Miami, Max? I remember you drew like bull trap right here. And it
You know what, Tucker?
You were right. No, you were right. You were right. I remember.
It did age well for a while,
It's
but
still
we've since
aged well,
we
man. It's still
true,
aged-
but it's aged well, but we have since revisited. I've got no doubt in my mind this is distribution. It's just we could go a little higher to distribute. So
yeah.
this is the process of distribution.
You know what I like to do is play the head and shoulders down here on the momentum waves, man. Let's see,
On the stochastic RSI.
on the proprietary, and if you combine Market Sniper with Haggard Super Sniper,
With Haggard Super Sniper.
forget about it. Forget about it.
Haggard Super Sniper.
So, guys, if you are still watching, thank you so much for being here on your Friday. Please consider liking the video. And also, if you're enjoying the stream and you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing. We're getting real close to 2K subscribers on YouTube. We show up every single day, and we work our absolute hardest to provide you guys quality entertainment, commentary, and insights on these markets. So please consider liking the video and also subscribing. We go live every single day at the same time. This is Market Check. So thanks for 23 likes, though, guys. We ran the range high. I see one of our Discord mods in here, Nick. What's up, Nick? Thanks for helping us run the range highs, brother. Fantastic. Look at Haggard Super Sniper. Oof.
Just pinning bottoms, man. Come on. The tops are a little more sus, but you know that one's pretty good.
Hey, but
Hey,
wide
it's way
enough
more important to get
invalidations.
bottoms in crypto than the tops. So
Yeah.
Dude, I think that's it's working there. And the thing is too, all you need to do is just not, just keep your stops a little wide, scale into things, and Haggard Super Sniper called the top.
Yeah. Where's the 4-hour nailed? Yeah, this one. I love that one. Just nailed stuff. Yeah. I don't know, man. Right here, it looks like we're just hanging out on air.
That's okay. Let's send it lower. All I ask is the Bitcoin bulls prove it, and they can't prove it right here. I think we need to go slightly lower for them to prove it. That's all. That's all I want. It's just a little bit of proof.
Oh, you're gonna see proof.
bounce from 28.9 right do a new high. No, I'm not expecting it. Would be very funny.
Yeah, it would be.
Hero.
But something that I think is pertinent to discuss as well, where the seasonality of crypto is becoming a headwind for us right now. Historically, July, August, September have been pretty terrible months for crypto. So as we're pushing up against range high, and then this was a scenario I mentioned to Will, I think on the beginning of the stream, I said, what if we went back down to like 25K over the next couple months, and then we went on to make a new high, sometime in early Q4. Imagine that. Not a lot of people would be expecting that. I think a lot of people are expecting like 35K this month or early next month.
I don't know. I think a lot of people are expecting 50K.
I don't know. I don't know if I would say many people. I haven't seen that.
I've seen a lot of people. Oh, we're going to 50K. It's like, what?
Guys, I say we call it here. We've been going for a while now. We've been going for 83 minutes, so we got to save some stuff for Monday's market check.
Well, I would like to say that I hope we have some volatility on Bitcoin over the weekend to be able to discuss on Monday, but I feel like we all know that's probably not going to be the case. Trying to jinx it so we actually do get some guys. But yeah, like Max said, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Appreciate the likes and subscriptions. If you have not already and you enjoyed the content, we really appreciate when you hit that like or subscribe button. If you really enjoyed the content, we do have offerings of premium services. You can find those in the description of this YouTube video, as well as the link tree of our Twitter bio. But yeah, guys, I mean, we'll be in the Discord hanging out this weekend. I'm sure, trading and charting some setups on alts, on Bitcoin, whatever's moving. Just hoping for some volatility, But yeah, without further ado, I'll let you guys get on with your Fridays. Thanks for spending it with us, at least the morning portion of it. I'm gonna go cat sit for my mom and probably do some trading for the rest of the day. But I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and we'll be back on Monday. Thanks.
See you guys.
See you guys.
Yeah.